Welcome to World Update on the Persecuted Church with Release International. In this edition, Christians in Maiduguri, Nigeria, brace themselves for further attacks.
They came well armed with their petrol and with their lighters. As soon as they came, they just poured the petrol and they lit their matches, and the whole place was in flames.
The Christians say they'll continue to love their neighbors, even if their neighbors plan to kill them.
We are always a forgiving community. We practice what Jesus said. We love it. That's why we believed it.
First news from around the world. Eritrea gospel singer Helen Bahani and her daughter Eva have been granted asylum in Denmark. Helen was jailed in 2004 after releasing an album of gospel music. She was held in a steel shipping container and an underground cell at a military camp. The authorities tortured Helen to try to force her to give up her faith. Eventually, she was crippled by a prison guard. Helen was finally set free in November 2006. Pray for Helen and the 2,000 other Christians detained in Eritrea, many facing torture and intimidation because of their faith. China. Beijing house church activist Jomhuri-ye has again been brutally attacked by security guards. And there are reports that his elderly mother, allegedly jailed to put pressure on her son, is now dying after she too was severely beaten. The first attack left Jomhuri-ye unconscious for 3 days. The second followed hours after he was released from hospital. "Whether I live or die doesn't matter," said Hua, "as long as Christ shines on me and the gospel and Christ's love is spread." Hua says the police kept telling him that they would release his mother if he gave them the names of his Christian contacts and abandoned his Christian work. Hua's prayer request is this: please pray for the Chinese police. Ask God to soften their hearts and pray for the early release of my mother. Please pray also for Chinese Christians who are being targeted along with dissidents in the run-up to the Beijing Olympic Games. Release International has produced a 1-minute video alert about Shuang Shuying. Please download it from the website and pass it on to your friends and contacts. Nigeria. Police tanks have been out on the streets of Maiduguri after fresh threats by Islamist militants to attack a Brethren church. The church was one of 57 destroyed by militants in 2006 during carefully orchestrated raids that killed 65 Christians. Now tensions are rising again. The EYN Brethren Church was one of the key targets last year.
It took place in about 2 hours. For them to destroy all this. So the fire went on burning throughout the night. They destroyed. These are things that...
The mob also attacked St. Rita's Church and burned the priest to death.
This is the massive destruction that took place on that day. They came well armed with their petrol and with their lighters. As soon as they came, they just poured the petrol and they lit their matches, and the whole place was in flames. This is the altar. The vestry there, everything.
What will it cost to repair this damage?
We have given a conservative estimate of not less than 25 million naira. It's in naira. So that is the conservative estimate for it now. These are just other classrooms. Oh, whatever. Somebody still has saying Jesus is Lord, the King of Kings. So no matter how desperate, difficult situation somebody is saying Jesus is Lord, the King of Kings.
They decided to now break through the wall to gain entrance into the church building, where they went in and destroyed everything that is in there, including the Reverend Father, who is in charge of this parish.
What did they do to him?
What they did was, when they came in, they used knife on him, they stabbed him with knife, and hung tires on his neck, got some petrol, poured on him, and light the matches to burn him completely to ashes. Now this was the very place they hung the tires on this Reverend Father Gajiri and burnt him to ashes.
The remarkable faith of the Christians of Maiduguri is featured in The Remains of the Day, a new TV documentary by Release International, CSW, and The Voice of the Martyrs Canada. It's available on DVD from Release International. We'll return to Maiduguri later in the program. Pakistan now, and the residents of a small Christian village in Kasur are in fear of their lives after a mosque loudspeaker called on Muslims to take their land. Upwards of 70 armed militants invaded the village of Lapana and demolished 3 houses before police could intervene. The Muslims said they were trying to reclaim the site of a graveyard, while the Christians say the land was given them by presidential decree. Meanwhile, in Govind village near Lahore, armed militants attacked the new apostolic church and beat up believers, including children. The Muslims objected to the only church in the village relaying prayers through loudspeakers. The Muslim call to prayer is routinely broadcast throughout the village on loudspeakers. But this time, according to reports, those loudspeakers were used to declare a religious war on the church. Release International's partners in Pakistan say Muslim doctors are now withholding medical treatment from Christians, shopkeepers are refusing to sell them goods, and farmers are preventing Christians from grazing their cattle. A Christian spokesman said, "We just want peace and harmony and to be accepted as citizens of Pakistan." Pray for peace to return to Govind and Lopana villages and for freedom of worship. Pray for the church in Pakistan at risk of reprisals from extremists during the country's current political turmoil. We return now to Nigeria. A Christian student in Kano State had to run for his life after being falsely accused of drawing a picture of the Prophet Muhammad. As rumor erupted into riot, militants killed 10 Christians, set fire to 9 churches, as well as many Christian homes and businesses. The student, who denies drawing the picture of Muhammad, is being cared for by Release International's partner in Nigeria. Release is also supplying food, blankets and clothing to Christians made homeless in the riots. The riots in Maiduguri, which are threatening to flare up again, were also triggered by a cartoon of Muhammad, produced by a magazine in Denmark. More cartoons of Muhammad have since been published in Bangladesh, prompting further riots, and in Sweden. Al-Qaeda has put up a $100,000 reward for anyone who cuts the throat of the Swedish cartoonist. Meanwhile, Christians in Maiduguri brace themselves for further attacks and choose to obey Christ's command to love their neighbors, even those who want to kill them.
We are always a forgiving community. We practice what Jesus said. We love it. That's why we believed it, and we want to practice it. And we've been practicing it. That is why we never retaliated. They are still our neighbors. We still greet, we still talk, we still relate with them.
Pray for the Christians of Maiduguri. Many have been driven out and some who remain have been forced to worship in secret. Pray that they'll remain faithful in their work and in their witness. Their story, The Remains of the Day, is available on DVD from Release International. That's it from this edition of World Update. For in-depth news and analysis on the persecuted church, sign up to Witness magazine, available from the website www.releaseinternational.org. Goodbye and God bless.